Hello and welcome back to another 3D how-to video. Today we're going to go over how to create different types of wraps for weapons or clothing or anything that you want to make that would basically simulate strips of cloth wound around an object. And right now we have a very crude sword to work with. I just threw this together. Just goes to show that the quality of your work is pretty dependent on how much time you feel like putting into it, but hey, this will work for today's purposes. So what we're going to do is focus on the handle here. That's where the main wrapping is going to be. So if we want to create cloth wrapped around the handle, we can do it in a couple ways. We could do it where they are perfectly in parallel with one another, whether it's going diagonal or straight across, or we can create overlapping types of cloth wounding. And I'm going to show you both really quick today. So first, we're just going to create a sketch on the default plane here, and we're going to focus on the bottom half to show the parallel version of this. Grab the sketch and move it straight above it. So like a lot of detail creation in 123D design, we're going to use the split solid technique. So go up to sketch, and we're going to just freeform make lines going down the handle of the sword. So what I like to do is just create an outline of where the windings are going to stop and end. Very quick. And then just simply creating diagonal lines back and forth from one end to another. So this is going to create the illusion as if you take one piece of cloth and you wrap it around the whole handle. Press enter to finish the sketch. And to get ready to extrude these sketches, we're just going to delete the outline of the plane that we created. Let's get an isometric view, and we're going to select alternating sketches here, alternating rectangles, so that we can extrude them separately. And what that's going to do is cause a contrast in texture, so you won't extrude the whole thing and create one solid object. Even though these are separate extrudable sketches within a certain sketch, it'll still create one solid object if you select each sketch at once. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're going to go up to construct and extrude and select alternating straps or alternating pieces of cloth here. Extrude straight down through the handle, selecting new solid instead of subtract. Subtract would be cutting slots in the handle, but we want to create these panels moving up the handle. Let's hide these sketches so we can work here. And like I said, we're going to use the split solid technique, which could be found up in modify and over at split solid. The body to split will be these separate panels, but because they all came from one sketch, they'll be selected all together. So select. The splitting entity will be the handle, so select that. When both of those are selected, hit enter, and then highlight and delete the panels right here. So you can see that everything was cut out from what we just did, except for the parts that make contact with the handle. Now to raise them up to create the thickness of the piece of cloth that you're moving through, or moving along the handle, we're going to go up to modify, press and pull, and individually select each one. And we're going to make this about 0.5 millimeters, just so it stands out enough. There we go. So this looks like it's 4 separate rings of cloth. Let's bring our sketch back by going over to Show Sketches. And we're going to now extrude the other parts of the strap. Remember to select New Solid, hit Enter. Let's hide the sketches again so that we can work with the objects. Move up to Modify, Split Solid, select our object. Splitting entity will be the handle. Hit Enter to confirm the feature, and then delete the unnecessary parts around the handle. There we go. And again, same thing as before, modify, press pull, select the cloth pieces that you want to pull, and we're gonna just make these slightly thicker than the other ones, just so that you can see that contrast and texture and it doesn't create just one solid object. 0.75 because the ones before were 0.5. Hit Enter, and you can see that there is a slight contrast in texture. To accentuate that, we can even change the color of it so that it will look separate from one another. Let's say we want to make them white because say that it's a piece of cloth. That looks pretty good for that one. And let's select this one. And we'll make it slightly darker. There we go. And you can make that as long as you want. We're only using half the handle here so that we could show another technique. So to work on the top of the handle, do the same thing that we do before, and with every detail creation technique, using the Split Solid tool, we're going to create this plane on the default grid. Go isometric. Select our sketch, transform, move it right above the handle, and now we have room to sketch. So this is going to be essentially the same technique, but we're going to create a crisscrossing pattern moving up the top of the handle instead of a parallel diagonal pattern. Very similar to before. Let's sketch on the plane that we created using the polyline. And for now, we're going to go in one diagonal direction. Let's see. So just to give it a little bit of extra detail, we're going to make it thicker on one side than the other. And you can do this however you want. I'm just going to do this freeform. Make that a little bit thicker. And remember, it doesn't matter what these edges look like because they're going to get cut off once we do the split solid. Let's see if we can squeeze one more in here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and extrude these before we sketch the other ones. So I'm going to delete the edges of the plane really quick so that I can easily extrude the sketches that I want. Construct, extrude. Select all the sketches that you want to extrude, which right now is all the ones that we just made. New solid. Same as before, getting a lot of practice with the split solid tool. Body to split. Those panels that we created. Splitting entity will be the handle. Hit Enter to confirm, and then delete the rest. Let's hide this sketch so we can press and pull this more easily. And we're going to make this 0.5. Maybe I want these straps to be leather instead of cloth like the other ones, so we're going to make it a lighter brown color. Try to make it not as brown as the handle here. There we go, that looks pretty good. And so now we're going to repeat those steps, but in the opposite direction. So create another plane. We're We're going to move that up above the handle. And we're going to sketch. So because some of these go in this direction, so I guess that would be a from upper right to lower left, we're going to try and make it in a little bit different direction. Here we go. There will be a little bit of handle showing, but that's okay. And like I said, if you want to go off of a sketch that you create or a sketch that you find somewhere else, a model of a video game or a movie or something like that, then go off that as detailed as you want. This is completely improvised, which is kind of my favorite way to design. It looks like something happened over here. Let's delete that. See if we can put that, there we go. Cover more of this a little bit here. Adjusting the sketch. And maybe I want to make it crisscross a little bit more. Make this slightly thicker. Okay, there we go. Let's delete these edges. And as far as the order of some of this goes, it's up to you. There's a lot of different ways to do certain things in this software and doing 3D design in general. It's all your preference, and I'm just showing you the best way that I found so far. And if you have another way, please share it in the comments of the video. So let's extrude these down. Hopefully this looks good. Sometimes you can't really tell until you put it all together, but we'll see. Let's see, forgot what I was doing for a sec. Split solid. Splitting entity is the handle, and then delete the rest. There we go. Let's hide these sketches. We're gonna press pull each of these. And to start, we're going to make them slightly higher than the other ones, so 0.75 millimeters. There we go, so you can kind of see how the crisscross pattern works out. As far as color goes, let's make it slightly darker just to show a little bit of contrast and texture. We'll try to stay lighter than the handle still, but... or maybe even just another shade of brown. That looks pretty good, actually. So from here, we can actually play with the press and pull so that we can tuck one underneath and above the other one. So if we want to just go up to the modify, press pull, let's say we wanted this one to be a little bit thicker than this one. 0.75, so if we make this one 0.7, so that's above that one. Let's leave this one on top. You can go over here and play with this one a little bit. Actually, let's make this one a little bit on above. Make this one 0.8. And we'll make this one 0.7. Since this one's already tucked under, we can make this 0.6. That one's 0.5, so let's make that 0.4 maybe. And we're actually going from a baseline of where it was before, so just keep that in mind there. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Either way, I think you get the idea of how we can use the detail creation by split solid to make a wrapping cloth or wrapping leather illusion on any object that you want. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you got a lot out of it. If you haven't come across something like this before, I'm glad to have showed you what I found to work. If you have a better way to do this, or have any other techniques that you would love to share, leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to try it and maybe put it in another video.